Welcome to System Dynamics Online Tutorials. In this session I'm going to cover a quick summary of the physical inventory process and exactly what that does within Dynamic 3i. Here we see on the menu the exact sequence of events that would occur for a physical inventory, and it's most important that they actually be followed in step here as they are set out in the menu. The first one being the pre-physical inventory update, which is critical and the very most important step within the process of physical inventory. What this actually does is take a snapshot of your current on-hand quantities, which basically allows you to then continue forward and do operations, like order entry and stuff like that, while the physical inventory process is going on. Essentially, these are the steps down here. The pre-physical inventory update, and then there's a checklist, a cycle count sheet, which is just a different format of the checklist, tag entry, where I'm actually entering tag, and then I can get some listings out of there, some exception maintenances based on that fact. I also have the ability to do a tag load update, which actually pulls in tags from an ASCII file generated from another system, so that if the physical inventory is basically done on a different count system or different type of processing, I can present Dynamic 3i with an ASCII file in a certain format and then load that into the system. A deviation report to give me count differences between what the system actually has on the been defined as being quantity on hand, etc., and the physical count, and then the actual update, which syncs up the system between what was entered in the tag and what was put on there. So if we go into these things quickly, the pre-physical inventory update is the most critical, important step prior to a physical inventory, and like I said, it actually takes a snapshot of the system. And if we basically run this, I'm taking all of the current on hands and just updating a particular field in the database to take a snapshot. Then I can run my checklist by product group, which basically covers off giving me a sheet to hand out to any given group of warehouse employees to do an actual physical count on the system. And when that comes up, I'm basically formatted a listing for actual counts, etc., with all the product groups and information, so they can actually go out and count that. Now the system actually generates a tag number, which is important to add here, because I can use or not use that tag number if I want. When I go into tag entry, all of the tags will be produced for the given items, tag number 1, 10, they'll all be in order according to the product group, etc. And then these tags can be used or not used. Nothing's stopping you from using your own tags. So if you have your own tag numbering system, by all means just go through and you can actually enter these. The system will generate these tags, and essentially you won't use them. And what will happen is in the update, when you process 0 tags or purge them, you just go through and purge them, and they will actually be dropped off the system, the ones that were system generated. They will actually be included in the count, but since they're 0, 0 plus whatever tag you enter is the way the system operates. So from those entries, or from the automatic entries, or from your entries in this tag entry, you would actually then come in, be presented with the information on your checklist. In this case, tag number 11, you would actually put the quantity that was counted within that system, and the system will time, date, and stamp that, and then it's incorporated into the system. If you entered your own tag number 387512 for this exact same entry, this particular tag would of course have null or 0 for the count. Your tag entry for the given product group, given item, warehouse location would have obviously a quantity against it, say 250. And what happens is then at the update, I take the 250 plus the system generated tag, which is 0. I still have 250, and that's what I use, and I tell the system to drop off all tags for that given product. So the system one drops down by the wayside, as well as the entered one that you put in when you so desire to actually purge off those tags. The tag entry, I can then get a listing by tag, a listing by product, a checklist, and as I said, the tag load is, if it's done on an external system, I can actually present Dynamic 3i with an ASCII file formatted in the help as to what each tag number and quantity and stuff like that, loaded into the file, and it will present itself to Dynamic 3i in that tag entry screen that we were just in. Exceptions maintenance, this is based on the tag load, so if there's problems within the tag load, obviously the products have to be set up within that warehouse, and the products have to be set up within the Dynamic 3i. This will just highlight those particular areas with the given error codes down here in order for you to facilitate going into the file itself or into the other system and syncing that up and taking care of the errors. So this sort of tag load, the exception maintenance, and the listings are in that one general area, and then the tag load update just pushes it into the tag file up here that we were looking at in the first place. Deviation report, after I enter all my tags, I can do a final run again by the product group and pull off a deviation report in detail or summary, and here I can exclude 0 on hand and 0 tag count records, or exclude 0 on hand and uncounted tags. So I can make a choice as to whether to include those tags that were not counted or include those tags that were counted that actually have zeros tagged against them. Running that report is basically a tool that allows me to check into my deviations, print those deviations out, and then go and investigate them, etc., or simply accept them as a valid deviation in the system. Here is my an example of the report showing me the tag quantity that I would have entered, my current on hand, the deviation in comparison to what the system sees as my on hand and my quantity. Very straightforward physical inventory deviation type reporting, and then a dollar amount and the overall value of that deviation that's going to encompass and hit my general ledger. The update, here is where the final tags or the process is continued, where I can actually, for that warehouse and the given product group, post to my general ledger and actually update my quantity on hand and bring it into sync with what's actually out there after my physical inventory. Here's the process that I was talking about with uncounted tags. If I want to process the uncounted tags, so I actually incorporate them into as a 0 count, so if there's no other tag against them, then the quantity on hand will be updated to 0. Or if I want to purge the uncounted tags, so if they're just sitting there and there was no entry against them, I don't incorporate them into my my count totaling, and they're actually purged off to the system. Or skip them. In other words, those tags will still be around. Maybe I just haven't got around to actually counting those particular items, and I'm doing these in groups of products or in different product groups, so I just want to skip over them and have them available in the system for the next update that may be run within the next couple of hours or a couple of days, etc. This process I might add within the physical inventory, again through the whole process. Once I do that physical inventory update, it's very important that the count of the particular products occur at the same time. Once I finish counting the particular item after I do the freeze, if you will, or this physical inventory update, I can continue to do shipping confirmation. So I don't have to shut down the whole information. That's why we take a snapshot of the system as it stands now. Dynamic 3i will allow you to actually take the snapshot and then do the count of the particular product group, etc., and then you'll be able to do shipping confirmation. So I always equate this to, if somebody is going to take a snapshot or a pre-physical inventory update and then go out to the warehouse location and then do a shipment, that's wrong, because and then do a count. And this is where I always equate to a pre-physical inventory update, that I actually take the snapshot of the quantity on hand, go out and count the product, and if somebody's waiting there to ship an order, as long as I count the product, I got 10 in the bin location or 10 in that area location for that product, fine, now you can ship that product. I can instantly take the shipment that's sitting there for shipping confirmation for 8 of them and send them out the door. What happens is, and it's very important, is that if I run the pre-physical inventory update and then I ship product out, and then I go and count, I'm going to have an issue with Dynamic 3i, and it will have to be traced through manually. So it's very important that the pre-physical inventory update and the actual count of the item occur at the same time, or everything is on hold until that actual count is done. Once the count is done for the particular item, you can continue processing it for a week, for 3 weeks, for a month, however long it takes you to satisfy the physical inventory and the deviation reports, and the update will take into account any shipments that occurred after that fact, no problem within the system, and keep it into sync. And that's basically the process of the physical inventory. Each one of these is covered in its own tutorial online, so that and again, the physical inventory process is discussed and highlighted there. This was just a quick information for the whole process of the physical inventory, highlighting the key areas of the pre-physical inventory update, the checklist, and then the actual deviation report and the update.